What's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting. God, I always say that. What's up, guys? Chad Christopher here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about these two sights right here. This one is the Sightmark M-Spec Ultra Shot, and this is the FMS version. And then we also have the Sightmark Quick Detach Flip Up 3x magnifier for it. So let's start off with the M-Spec right here, and this is a reflex sight. Now, if you're not familiar with reflex sights, essentially the idea is extremely fast target acquisition because you have this wide field of view. You're not stuck looking through like a scope. Even if the scope is like a 1 to 4 times magnification and it's meant for sort of those close quarters things, you're still kind of having to get down and sight through a scope to see your target. So the idea with this reflex sight is it's a big open housing with a reticle right in the middle, so it allows you to come up, you can come up with 2 eyes open, and you can see your target extremely, extremely fast. Now, one of the downsides could be that you don't have the option for magnification like you do in a scope, and that's where something like this magnifier comes in. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but before we do that, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of the facts and the features, the objective breakdown of this sight, and then we'll go into some of my thoughts on using this thing, pros and cons, is it worth it, stuff like that. So the optic has a magnesium alloy housing. On the sides here, you'll see all your buttons. You've got up and down brightness, power, and then a night vision mode. You've got your battery compartment, your windage and elevation adjustments on the side there, and then just some Allen screws to lock this thing down to your Picatinny rail. Now, one thing that's cool about this optic is it does have a slide out sunshade, so it's supposed to be able to help with glares on bright days, rain and snow getting on your lens if you're shooting in bad weather, things like that. And then on the inside, let's talk about the actual lens because that's really where the magic is. So the reticle itself is a red 65 MOA circle dot crosshair. It is a 60 MOA circle with 5 MOA subtension and 2 MOA central dot. So it's calling out an advanced double lens design with a parallax corrected optical system, and that parallax correction only does happen beyond 10 yards. There's also an unlimited eye relief, and it's supposed to be scratch resistant and an anti-reflective red coating. So this thing runs on a CR123 battery. It does have low battery indications at 2 hours and at 10 minutes when that battery needs to be changed. Additionally, it does have a motion activated system, which essentially powers itself off after 12 hours, and then anytime it senses motion, it'll flick back on. So that's a really cool thing. If you have this in the safe or whatever and you're worried about needing to grab it real quick and go, that reticle should pop on by itself and stay on for 12 hours. That's one thing I've always thought about with electronic optics that have an on and off switch is like, if you're in a critical situation or whatever, you need your gun fast, are you gonna have the peace of mind to be able to turn your optic on? Probably not. So I really like how they have that motion activated idea where it's saving battery with the 12-hour shut off, but anytime this thing senses motion, it's flicking back on for you. So really, really cool setup. And finally, let's talk about price. This thing is listed on Amazon right now. I have a link down below for $199. Now, I know the title says best optic under $200, and that is technically under $200. It's listed at $199. I know it's coming right up to that line, but the thing is absolute fire for that price. Let me just say that right off the bat. Obviously, that's not including the magnifier, but the sight itself has been an absolute joy to work with. Now, I know the first thing everyone's gonna ask is, how does it stack up to an EOTech? And if you've watched my channel for a long time, you know that I normally run an EOTech on this gun. I have a $600 EOTech I normally use all the time on here. I took that off to put this $200 Sightmark on it, and I didn't notice any different. Now, let me preface this by saying I am not your proper operator. I'm not overseas putting my life on the line with this optic. I am not in military. This is not my duty rifle, anything like that. So that all being said, I'm someone who enjoys going to the range and having fun and shooting steel. And with all that being said, I didn't notice any difference, man. I had an absolute blast with this optic. I didn't do any fine tuning of this optic. I took it out of the gun, I put it on the rifle. I had no clue about eye relief, anything like that. It says it has unlimited eye relief, so I wasn't really worried about it. I just threw it on the gun wherever it happened to line up, and it was dead nuts accurate out of the box. I'm talking like, Now, if you want to adjust elevation and windage, I did end up doing that as I got a little bit further away. I was shooting up to 50 yards with it, and I had to adjust it a tiny bit to the left. Yeah, I don't know, man. I had a blast shooting this thing. It was absolutely on point as far as your target acquisition coming up. It felt the same as my EOTech. I could get on target just like that. I didn't have to think about it. The reticle felt just as crisp. The glass felt just as crisp. I didn't have any of that weird parallax stuff going on. And yeah, man, I think I was very, very impressed with it. Now, as far as this sunshade, I'll be honest, the material that this sunshade is made out of feels sort of like a cheap plastic. That being said, it did come in handy. So we were out there shooting and it started snowing on us pretty good. We're up in Utah, we were in the mountains shooting, so that kind of thing happens to me quite a bit. Having the ability to pull this sunshade out, and I don't know how it would do for glare and stuff like that, but as far as keeping snow off of my optic, it was a lifesaver, man. It really, really helped a lot. Now, it says that this thing is rated up to 50 BMG as far as like the recoil throwing off zero. So I'm shooting 5.56. Obviously, it's probably not gonna do much to the zero, but I try to shoot as many rounds through it as possible without touching any adjustments. And at the end of the day, I was still zeroed just as well as I was at the beginning of the day. So that's great. I was throwing it in and out of cases. I was putting it down in the snow just to see, how really resilient this thing would hold a zero, and it absolutely did. Now let me just say that having shot a fair amount of reflex sights versus close magnification scopes I almost always gravitate towards reflex sights. I just like the bigger field of view. That being said, I do like how on like a 1:4 scope, I have the ability to zoom in and really easily hit 100, 200 yards out. And that's just not something that I can do with my skill level with this reflex sight. So when I saw that they had a flip-up magnifier, I was absolutely stoked on that. And this flip-up magnifier is really slick, man. It's just on a quick detach mount, so you can take it on and off as you please, throw it on, and then you even have it just flipped off to the side as you want to take it out a little bit further. All it is just a simple flip up, and you're now 3 times closer with this. Now, again, just like when I was mounting this sight, I had no clue where this thing needed to be in relation to this sight in order to work well. I wasn't measuring anything. I just decided to throw it on near the back of my Picatinny and put the other sight a little bit in front of it. And my goodness, did it work out well. Out of the box, the thing was extremely accurate. I had this little steel spinner that was a 4-inch circle, so pretty small target, at about 50 yards out, and I was ringing that thing all day long with no adjustments whatsoever. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Obviously, as you get further, you're probably gonna have to dial it a tiny bit. So a couple quick features about this magnifier. So this is the Sightmark XT3 tactical magnifier. As I said, it does have a locking and quick detach mount for quick and easy removal. It flips to the side for a super quick transition. It's actually got this rubbered armored housing on this thing, which I thought was interesting. Like, it's got a really kind of interesting feel to it, but because of that, you can tell the thing is crazy durable. I'm sure it can stand up to all sorts of abuse. Like I said, we were out in the snow and I was not worried about it whatsoever. It claims that it's fully waterproof and dustproof. So the fact that I didn't have to baby this thing was a big deal for me. It's got external windage and elevation adjustments, fully multi-coated optics, and then finally, it is supposed to be compatible with EOTech and aim point optics. One thing I like about it is it has like a positive click when it's in place. It's got like 2 clicks. One that's like kind of halfway it clicks, and then once it clicks into place, it's a very positive, like you're there, you're locked in, and then when you're moving it out of the way, you've got 1 click out of the way, and then 1 click again that really positively tells you it's fully off to the side. I really like that positive click because I feel like if it didn't have that, number one, I'd always be wondering if it was like fully seated and like properly magnifying my optic correctly, like if it was off skew or whatever. And then the other thing is I'd always like worry about it kind of wandering back and forth. This feels like it's really locked in place, which is just a good peace of mind. So that was my review on these optics. Now I know that wasn't the most scientific review in the world, but I think just the fact that I'm used to running an optic, an EOTech optic that's 3 times the price of this. That's what I'm used to seeing when I use this rifle. And I switched out for this one, and I really didn't notice a difference. I think that's a pretty big deal, man. And it's not just my experience either. Go onto their Amazon page and read those reviews. They're absolutely insane. They're all 5 stars, and they rave about this thing for the same reason. So I think this thing is an absolute home run. Now, like I said, this thing is $200 on Amazon. I do have that link down below. So this flip-up sight is $216 on Sightmark's website. So it does add a little bit extra if you want to go with it. I personally would recommend it all day long if you're planning on going beyond that 25, 50 yard range. For me personally, I'm always going to want this thing on there. And the fact that if you already have an EOTech or an Aimpoint, you can throw this on there and it should be compatible. I think that's a pretty big deal. They do not have this on Amazon from what I can tell, and I don't know that I can provide the Sightmark link in the video description. We all know YouTube's still a little bit wonky with what I can include and can't include. So just go ahead and search this optic and you'll be able to find it. It is currently back ordered though. So as soon as it comes back into stock, make sure to jump on it if you do want to pick one up. So anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun shooting this. This is how I'm going to keep my rifle set up. If you're someone who wants to get into a reflex but doesn't want to drop $600 on an EOTech, I think this is an absolutely viable option. So if you want to pick one up, go check out that Amazon link down in the video description below. Keep your eyes out for a magnifier if you're looking for that as well. And anyways, that's all I've got for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you were down for the ride, and I will catch you next time on Chat Christopher. Peace out.